Nah. What's up? It's your boy DJ Academics. What's up with it? It's your boy Wes Craven. I'm sharing some shit real quick. Do we fix the lights? What's up with the people? Houston, we got lights.
Get more for your business with Microsoft 365. Stay connected to customers from anywhere and securely share files.
In 2011, I want to say there's a historical moment. Yourself, Corrupt, The Game, I'm missing somebody else. Essentially, pass the torch to Kendrick Lamar on stage.
Yes.
Kendrick gets emotional. I think that was like a real turning point.
Well, at that time, The Game, he was the one that was
carrying the torch.
He was fucking carrying the torch. Game was fucking it up. He was getting it in. He was busting. He was battling niggas. He was keeping it gangster. He was taking niggas on tour.
Selling hella records.
But he was doing G shit, and we shouldn't forget that. A lot of times we run past him to get to that.
Game had a grand, he was holding the West Coast
down. That's why he was on stage when Kendrick was presented that, because it was all a part of us seeing that he was the next in line.
Yeah.
That's how we do it on the West. We give it to who's accordingly running the show. Yeah. So Game actually on stage with me, we felt like he the one. And it wasn't no discussion that we had 3 weeks ago. That shit happened right there on the spot.
Happened on the spot.
This nigga was fucking it up. We in the crowd watching this nigga fuck it up. I'm sitting with Dr. Dre in the crowd, watching this nigga fuck it up. I'm like, I gotta go on stage with this nigga Dre. I'm sorry, I can't be in the crowd. So I go on stage and he do another song. Then another song, and they look over at me and they hand me the mic. I'm like, man, fuck all this shit, nigga. This nigga's the king. And everybody agreed. And that nigga broke down in tears, and it was beautiful because I watch him now, and I see all the work he put in before he took the crown and after he got the crown. He is a true king.
When you heard him talk about you on Whacked Out Murals and posted the Taylor freestyle, I saw you retweet it and say it was the edibles. What were your thoughts when you first heard that?
That's my nephew, man. He's a rapper, man. He's supposed to speak his mind and tell his truth.
Yeah.
That's the way he felt, you know what I'm saying? And he has the right to say that. I'm his big homeboy, so I have to take what's given to me from his perspective because he's speaking truth.
Yeah.
And the truth shouldn't hurt you. It should make you better. You know what I'm saying? I'm one to accept truth when it's brought to me directly. He feels that I shouldn't have played that. Damn, I was on them edibles, my nigga. I gotta be more careful. You right, nephew.
There was like an AI transposed version of you on that song, which was crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
That shit was diabolically, like, I don't even know, like, one of the weirdest things.
But the crazy part is, I could say it. What had happened was, that's how niggas say it. What had happened was, I did a collaborative post with someone. You know how you do a collaborative post?
And you do a lot of those.
Right. So when I do it, I don't listen to the music. I just see gin and juice because it's my brand.
Right.
So when I post it, I'm thinking I'm posting gin and juice. I don't know what song this is. I'm not hip to everybody's music.
Right.
Then I get the word, nephew didn't like what you did. What did I do? You played some music. What? like what you did. What did I do? You played some music. What music? Then I had to go look at the. I'm like, oh, that's cuz. Damn. So then I deleted it, called nephew, left him a message because he didn't pick up. He was working on his shit. I left him a message, nephew. This Uncle Snoop. I got the message. I apologize. I was fucked up. My bad.
If a man really hated ads, here's what he would do. Day one, he would install Pi on his computer without spending a dime because it's 100% free. Day two, he realizes how clean and clutter-free his browsing experience has been since he got Pi. He doesn't have to deal with annoying cookie pop-ups or targeted ads. Day three, he can finally binge YouTube and Twitch without interruption because Pi works on every website you visit on Chrome. Day four, he discovers that when he does see ads, he can get paid to see them. Day five, his life has improved 1,000 times because of the peace he gets from experiencing an ad-free internet. He decides he never wants to go back to life without Pi and tells all his friends and family to download it. See how Pi can improve your life today.
So you think you know Wix? Do you really? First up, we've got Shake video masks. You can use different shapes to create completely different vibes.
Did you feel like at all like weird about like that, like Drake using your voice?
Man, I don't want to be in nobody's shit, man. I like being in my own shit. You know what I'm saying?
Because you didn't know that was happening.
No, I didn't.
To me, like if you were gonna do that, like you should like tap in, like, hey, I'm gonna use your voice on some shit.
But see, I'm such a big figure. I'm Uncle Snoop.
Right.
I'm accessible to everybody, so everybody feels like they can because I don't have too many parameters when it comes to me. But when it comes to beef, that's a real parameter that I do have. I don't get in nobody's beef. I'm usually the one who ends the beef. But if it's out of my reach, then I step out and allow two men to get an understanding. And that's what I feel like these two men and two rappers should establish, where they don't need me to take sides or jump in. I'm from the West. So my heart lies on the West.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this shit, you gonna handle your business because you from the motherfucking West.
Right.
You don't need no help.
Right.
And if you needed help, you wouldn't have to ask. I'd have been on the double.
That's fair. What are your thoughts on the lawsuit?
Next question.
I just gotta ask. Yeah.
Next question, girl. You know, on the West, we hold court in the streets, girl.
Fair. See, that's all. Yeah, that's a fair point.
That's just what we call it.
Yo, on this new album, there's I love the way you ended it. The Negotiator was hard. It's a lot of sonics on this album. There's a lot of dope. Like what I feel like what you all were able to do was also like shine a light on some features that weren't necessarily like household names that have been like doing their thing for a while. Was there anything that didn't get finished feature wise in time for like that almost crossed the finish line making the album that you were trying to make happen that just didn't end up working out?
Nah, we were specific about what we wanted. We had a whiteboard in the room. Whiteboard.
Not a white boy.
A board. And the next thing, yeah, whiteboard in the room. Whiteboard, BOARD. And we would write down, the songs accordingly that we thought that would make it. And then we had another list called Shit Out of Luck. So the Shit Out of Luck was the songs that didn't make the album. So we would always look at these and then look at Shit Out of Luck and be like, which one? So give you a perfect example. It's probably not the answer you're looking for, but I think it's good. We had the album right here. Then we looking at Shit Out of Luck. I don't like this one song on the album. And Dre ain't really fucking with it either. So we trying to figure out what should we do or how can we make it better. So I say, hey, that motherfucker over there on Shit Out of Luck, that's a hit if you just touch it. and Sticky Situation.
Fire.
Banging.
Fire.
That motherfucker was over there.
Oh, it wasn't even gonna make the album.
No way.
Yeah.
I had to go fish hooking back in and say, cuz, nigga, you hear what I'm saying on that?
Yeah, no, you're going in.
And you hear if you touch that music and put all that, and then when it changes into the, oh my God, it's an experience.
For sure.
So that was one of those records where I had to go save it rather than records that didn't make it.
Was there like other attempts of you guys doing a version of this throughout the years? Because we always hear like Dre is so like, I don't know how many times we've heard about the Detox and how many times it's been restarted. Like, did you guys ever attempt to do this specific mission of an album and it just didn't end up coming to fruition in the past?
Nope.
So this is the first time.
Don't miss.
Yeah.
That motherfucker don't miss. When me and him say we going in,
We're locked in.
yeah, we never locked in. After this, the last time we locked in was The Last Meal, when it was like, hey, cuz, I need you to mix my album. And I sat up there with him and he mixed every song. But he didn't produce every song.
Right.
But he heard all of my lyrics on every song. So when I got to certain songs, when we got to that shit, he was like, you and DLC gotta write this again. So he made me like rewrite certain things. Then when we did The Wrong Idea, he loved Badass verse. And then my verse, he was like, I like the way you started, but you need to change. That's why when I changed, I said, I'm down with PNDRE, a real nigga from the motherfucking LBC. I just look like this. I stay down with the twist. I'm real with this. I'm deep as abyss. I gave you a pound, then I gave your wife a kiss. I had to dip because y'all was full of that bullshit.
Yeah.
So he made me change all of that when it wasn't even his beat. So now when we lock up on this project, it ain't like that. It's like, I'm producing you, Snoop. So that means when you come over here, you sit down and you follow my instructions. And I wanted that.
Right.
That's what I wanted. But all of the shit that I'm doing, I was missing that last piece. That musical piece that was dynamic and transparent with how I'm living right now, rather than you judging me off of Doggy Style, Blue Carpet, Paid the Cost. No, you judging me off of Missionary 2024, how I'm living and how I'm rocking.
Hey, what's happening, you guys? Curtis Duo here from Sweetwater. Welcome to the channel, and thank you all for tuning in. Yo, I got a huge announcement. Native Instrument has just released Complete 15, their flagship plug-in bundles that comes with loads and loads of amazing.
Were bringing their dogs up there to fight and doing unethical things in that. Then
People were bringing them to the park.
Yeah, that's why I was banned from the Laurel Canyon Dog Park.
What was the story
I
behind
was
that?
bringing his Great Dane up there to fight other dogs, and I never caught him. And then somebody called me and said, "How far are you?" I said, "I'm on Laurel Canyon." He said, "He's here." And his dog attacked I don't know if it was a Labrador Retriever or a Golden Retriever puppy, about 5 months old. And he just sat there with his arms crossed. Big, tall guy, looked like Howard Stern, tatted up from head to toe. No judgments, just a bad dude.
Sure.
And he just sat there and he was laughing. And this dog was just getting mauled, and nobody wanted to jump in with a Great Dane. So the first thing I did was I took care of the Great Dane, and was able to manipulate him off and handed it to another park patron who leashed him up. And then I went over to talk to the guy, and the woman who was crying and emotionally invested in her dog went to speak to him, and and he took his leash and he strapped her right across the face. And when I knocked him out, I didn't mean to hurt him. What happened is he fell on his jaw. I didn't break his jaw. He fell on the jaw.
All right, Kyle. This has been a long time coming.
Yes.
We've known each other for 20,
I'd have to look back, but yeah,
right? Something like that. I've wanted to have you on the podcast for a long time. I know you don't really like to go out and do a lot of social stuff, so I appreciate you doing it. But I have talked so much here about dangerous dogs. And that's something that your middle name is Dangerous Dogs, right? I mean, I don't know anybody who I respect as much with those dogs as you. And what you've done over the years and stuff is really spectacular. So what I want to focus on talking about today is really what are these dogs? Why are these dogs what they are? And why is this such a catastrophic issue that we're facing in society today? Why wasn't it 25, 30 years ago, right? Where did this, what is the culmination of this? What is the genesis of all this?
And why aren't we allowing mandating licenses if we have to carry a gun to have these dogs? That's right. The political side of it.
Yeah, for sure. We can get into all that because I think that's a huge problem for us is that there are dogs out there, like what we call the man stoppers. And people have them, right? They're buying them, they're breeding them, they're selling them, and they're causing a lot of damage. Kind of the Corsos in Thousand Oaks, the ones, the pits in Florida.
Two Argentinian dogos dismembered a woman in Mojave Desert last week. She was jogging. He's not being charged with involuntary manslaughter.
I didn't hear about that one.
And then the breeder in San Francisco who left his wife alone with his 200 male Corsos and the female, and he also dismembered. So just to let you know that I'm a statistics guy. Connie Corsos are responsible for more human deaths in the United States than all other breeds combined in 2021.
Wow.
It's a scary thought, being that they've only been here since 1977.
Wow. Insane.
It's disgusting.
But, so the Corso it's a mastiff breed.
Yeah, it's a Molosser breed.
It's a Molosser. And that's something that you and I've dealt a lot with the shelter. I mean, I'm a Chamois Pointier guy, so I look more, I like those dogs. You like the Molossers, that's your specialty. Let's talk about the genesis of these dogs. They were bred to be sentry dogs. Right?
They were created. They weren't even bred.
Yeah, they were created.
Dogs like this don't exist in nature.
Right. And I think that's fascinating because of this is where we have a problem, right? Because it was bred into them, designed into them. And now we've got these dogs that are causing a lot of damage.
It's ingrained in their DNA. And it doesn't mean you can't get a Corso tomorrow. That's the perfect dog.
Right.
But we have to look at percentages. We have to generalize. People don't like that we generalize as dog trainers, but we have to. Bull terriers are nutty. But there's bull terriers that live with children, and small animals.
Yeah. But what's your recipe on that one? Like I always tell people, a dominant dog that's high in drive is not a good dog to have around kids.
I don't believe there's such a thing as dominant dogs. I think there's such a thing as weak owners.
Okay.
What I do believe in is if the dog is wired wrong, because I truly believe if you have a strong will, you can assert yourself over any dog, but we have advantages. We're both 6'1". So these dogs need to be in specific homes. As a rescuer, of course, I vet my adopters to death to the point where they don't even want the dog because I've turned them away, and those are the people that I want. Yes, going back to generalizing, some dogs are more dominant in nature than others, but with a strong will, you can cull and curb.
Wouldn't it be crazy if you could create voiceovers that sound like a
raspy old man?
A young teenage girl.
Or curb that dominance, but it has to be. They can't be your first dog. You can't be a first-time mal owner. These are not dogs as an adopter that and you as a trainer recommend as first-time dog owners. You would probably recommend just your basic Alsatian, like your basic Shepherd, and then graduate over to that.
Sure.
Strong-willed dogs need strong-willed owners.
Let's talk about that because I think I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, I think there are dominant dogs that I think just like people, like you and I are very dominant people. I think we can handle a dominant dog because we out-dominate that. And this is a theory. And I don't know how many times you're faced with it. I mean, I'm really in the media a lot. So I get a lot of crap from people who are always talking about there's no dominance in nature and with wild animals. You don't need to be dominant with your dogs. And I fight this tooth and nail that if we do not do this, we will kill those dogs.
Dogs are pack animals by nature, and they're carnivores. You put those two things together, you get a very primal animal. Anybody who believes in the theory that there aren't aggressive dogs or there's a food chain.
Right.
Okay. The bottom of the food chain is plants, and the top of the food chain is what? The lion?
I would say so.
Or the shark, apex predator. And then within those parameters, between plant lies all these other dogs. There's so many great breeds on either end of the spectrum, but unfortunately with genetically modifying these dogs and then line breeding and inbreeding, if people don't even know what that is, but back to the grandmother, to the grandfather, to the son, and then keeping the line small. It's like the it's like the Amish or the Appalachians. They all look weird. That's how these dogs get this musculature. You don't see dogs in nature with this type of drive, with this type of musculature. They've been line bred. The gene pools are small. You need to know what you have, and you need to know what you're handling. I always say that guns don't kill people. People kill people. Cars don't kill people. Drunk drivers do. And dogs don't kill people, but their owners who allow them to do. I wanted to, when you invited me to do this, I was thinking of some analogies that I could use that involve humans.
Okay.
So that the average layperson who owns a dog can correlate it and make sense of it. I think about two people when I think about dogs. I think about Paul Walker, the actor who died. He didn't have to die, but he was in a car that was beyond his means, and they were only just pulling away when it spun out of control. Catching on fire is not his fault; it was the manufacturer's fault. But I just remember when I had my I'm a furniture maker by trade. When I had my factory on La Brea, I had my kennels in the back, and down the street from me was a body shop, and he used to work on my cars. And the owner, his name was Alfred, and he had a contract with so that actor from Raising Arizona, big tall guy, Nicolas Cage.
Okay,
Nicolas Cage collects Lamborghinis. He has a Diablo in every color. Alfred called me and said, "Hey, one of the valets dinged his bumper. He dropped his car off. Can I come by?" He always said you wanted to drive one. He came by my shop. I'm a car collector. No big deal. In my parking lot of my shop, which is small, it's like a 10,000 square foot parking lot. I got in, I let the clutch out, and I spun it out. That's all I need to do is wreck some celebrity's car. He says, "Get out."
All right.
So he took me for a drive. The car was way beyond my means. Sure. This is the point I'm trying to make. It was beyond my means. Certain dogs are beyond certain dogs. Now, I've driven stick shift cars. I had a 65 Porsche, I had a 67 Vet. These are antiquated classic. They have no power. This is a whole different animal.
Sure.
And that's what happens. People get these dogs and they get into trouble. The other person that comes to mind is Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson beat his opponents before they ever fought. He beat him in the press conference, and he beat him in the ring, and he beat him in the stare down. What happened to Mike Tyson the first time he got beat? He had a lackluster career. Up and down, a few wins, a few losses. And at the end of the day, with these dogs, you have to bully the bully. What happened with Buster Douglas is Mike Tyson got bullied. And I think you and I were talking the other day. We've talked about this several times.
Yeah.
We were talking about positive reinforcement trainers. The opposite of positive reinforcement is negative enforcement. And when I say that, people say, "Well, Kyle's a heavy-handed trainer. You don't want your dog with him." Who names a rescue called Smash Face? Smash Face is a play on Brachyphysalis dog. It has nothing to do with the way I treat my animals. So you have to bully the bully. And when we talk about a positive reinforcement, that's when we want our dog to do something.
Right.
A negative reinforcement is when we're trying to stop a specific behavior, and people automatically correlate that with hitting, kicking, punching, punishment, shot collar. A negative enforcement correction can be as much as standing your dog down. It could be staring them down. It could be putting them in their place on their mat. I know you're strict obedience, so yours would be placed. Mine is just out. I just out them from the current situation. And when I see the body language change, I let them re-engage into the play groups. But I just wanted to, because we talk about this all the time, negative enforcement training is in no way whatsoever abusive.
No.
The abuse that happens with trainers happens at the end of the leash. It's not the prong collar, it's the person at the end of the leash. And it's not the remote for an e-collar where you have continuous impulse. It's the guy doing continuous and putting burn marks in your dog's neck.
Yeah.
None of these things help with aggression. They exacerbate it.
See, I always talk about that. I've been notorious, if you watch my videos, I have taken more prong collars and e-collars off of dogs when they have aggression and just put them on a slip lead, right? I mean, you can do whatever.
These things don't exist in the nature. Right. How is it that wolves, coyotes, dingoes, and lions are able to walk in packs? And how is it in downtown LA you have a pack of mixes, mostly pit mixes? They find a can that a homeless person threw out with some dog food, and they're all sharing it. And why aren't they scrapping?
Yeah,
they're not genetically modified dogs. They're eating out of necessity. They don't have the power of these breeds that we're going to get into that are just the breeds we're going to focus in on are breeds that are bred for a purpose, and when they're not being used for that purpose, their anger and their energy comes out in a different way, and not a good way.
Yeah, I call it leaking.
Totally
right. Yeah, that's
their bad qualities leak out.
Yeah, like if you see a dog, even a dog before a trial or before a bite, like police dogs, they're and if that doesn't go somewhere, and turn around and bite you.
That's the predecessor to the bite.
Right.
I always tell people your barking dog, it's either a nuisance barker because it's a pain in the butt because it's a Yorkie, or it's a predecessor to a bite.
Yeah.
You have to look at the type of bark it is. Is it guttural?
Right.
Or is it from the mouth? It's from the mouth. Dog's
Who cares?
excited.
Yeah.
When you get down here, you need to be careful.
Yeah.
So, and these are the slight nuances that we need to be able to teach people that own these dogs. And I was in my yard today, I was running a play group, and I just look and I see things, and my whole philosophy, my whole life of what I've done 31 years now is based on preemptive training. I want to stop the action before it starts. I look for the most subtle nuances, whether it's the eyes, shoulders, stiffness, hack, the slightest things. And my friends were like, I didn't see anything. I said,
You did.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that because before we even get into the breeds, you and I are real similar in that whole preemptive thing. I said once I'm a dog Nazi, and somebody gave me crap because they didn't get the soup Nazi joke, right? They didn't understand that part. But my thing is, and you run play group at your house, I ran them at the shelter. I'm looking for just the ever so slightest. And my thing is, if I can stop that, I stop the fight. There's a theory among motivational, positive only, R plus whatever trainers they want to call themselves, where they're saying, if you stop that, you're cutting out the warning signal.
Supercharge your business with the all-new Shopify point of sale, the all-in-one POS solution built on the world's most...
Big nut's going to go straight to a bite. And as a guy
Oh my God, no! You're carving a new neural pathway. You're in the brain. The more you stop it, the more the brain says, and then eventually you no longer need. You can run that play group and be in your kitchen cooking.
Right.
That's what we're doing is based on science.
Right.
So when
Real
you want to
science.
change a bad habit, you carve a new neural pathway. What we do for dogs is the same thing psychiatrists and therapists do for humans. Me, somebody who's been in therapy my whole life for anxiety and anger issues. I just transcended everything I've learned, and I do dog psychology. I'm not really a dog trainer.
Yeah.
So I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, me too. I'm so glad we're talking about that.
Preemptive training is everything. The other thing is once the action starts, whether it be a guttural growl, a posture, T-boning another dog, and then you go to give the correction, you've already got a bit of an adrenaline dump. A lot of people, red zone, I don't like that term.
Yeah.
There's an adrenaline dump. There's lots of chemicals. Pain receptors get pulled back, and the dog's ready for battle. So you get these drunk guys at the bar. They don't say a word, but as soon as the bouncer puts their hand around their neck, they're about it. They want to go. So we want to stop that before it happens. And when you do that, when you correct a dog where the behavior hasn't started yet, the correction is ever so slight. But we've been in a lot of dog fights.
Yeah.
Once it starts, you're fighting against nature.
Yeah.
We don't want to fight against nature.
Yeah.
Want to stop it. The other thing is, if you can stop it before it happens, you build the dog's bite inhibition.
Yep.
Every time a dog strikes a dog or a human, the bite inhibition lowers.
Right.
Somebody called me yesterday. I'm taking their Frenchie over Thanksgiving weekend. What started as my wife got bit turned into a text message, turned into a phone call that she got bit twice. He got bit in the hand. It bit the previous owner, and it bit someone at the shelter. The story always comes out. This dog has no bite inhibition.
None.
And it's a Frenchie. They're hard to train.
Okay, I've heard that. Frenchies are problematic. I've had many problems.
Health and behavioral. They're not deadly, but the behavior is the same. We have to treat it the same.
Yeah.
The difference is the danger isn't there.
Okay, so let's talk about. So one thing I always tell people, I say, people say, well, even a Chihuahua bites, and I said, I'd much rather get hit by a bicycle coming down the street than a truck, right? That's a simple logic. So I believe that any dog they're all the same DNA, right? They're all essentially wolves, right? So we need to find the behavior, find the warning signs, and squash that, right? Just get it out. It's not acceptable. It's never going to happen to you and me.
The behavior is bad. The potential is what the difference is. And these cute videos on YouTube, on TikTok of the Chihuahua, it's bad behavior.
Horrible.
And they allow it because the danger and the tenacity is, the tenacity is there, but the danger isn't. But so everybody thinks it's cute, so they're clipping the nail, showing the teeth. It's bad behavior.
So glad you're saying
We
that.
tolerate it
Yeah.
because people think it's not funny.
It's not.
Because a Chihuahua can lay a bite down on a child's lip. Like I'm not worried about the physical scars, the emotional scars later on. And listen, Chihuahuas have teeth, will bite. So I'll monitor mine.
Right. Right.
So
That's true. So when we talk about, again, so I think, like I said, any dog can bite. Your real specialty is the smash face dog, the brachycephalic dog, the mollusk. Tell me about the dogs you've got at your house now.
I was an all breed. Yeah, I just had to take a breath
Yeah.
because I want to cry. I started off as an all-breed Mastiff rescue. I did not intend to have a rescue. What happened was I developed a reputation in the early 90s when I had my furniture stores of, I want to use the right terminology, not a thug, but a guy who walked around dog parks and gave free advice unsolicited and was the first guy to jump into a dog fight.
Right.
And unfortunately, I've had to take out a couple of people who were bringing their dogs up there to fight and doing unethical things in that. Then
People were bringing them to the park.
Yeah, that's why I was banned from the Laurel Canyon Dog Park for breaking someone's jaw. Thankfully, I held my insurance was able to pay for
I
it.
remember the story about the broken jaw on the guy, but what was the story
He
behind
was
that?
bringing his Great Dane up there to fight other dogs, and I never caught him. Big, tall guy, looked like Howard Stern, tatted
Yeah.
him from head to toe, no judgments, just a bad dude.
Sure.
I just sat there was laughing, and this dog was just getting mauled, and nobody wanted to jump in with a Great Dane. So the first thing I did was I took care of the Great Dane, and was able to manipulate him off and handed it to another park patron who leashed him up. And then I went over to talk to the guy, and the woman who was crying and emotionally invested in her dog went to speak to him. And, you've been here multiple times. We've asked you not to bring your dog. It's unaltered. Why do you find pleasure? And he took his leash and he wrapped her right across the face. And when I knocked him out, I didn't mean to hurt him. What happened is he fell on his jaw. I didn't break his jaw. He fell on the jaw. And I had insurance. It was a $76,000 payout. And then when I was contracted to do the show for Discovery Channel, everything was great. We were 4 episodes in, and they found this payout when they did my criminal background check. And unfortunately, I had to reveal what it was for. You'd think that they would want me for the show as an activist, but instead they thought it was a liability.
Wow.
I did some security up at the dog park, and I started helping people with their aggressive dogs, and I was the first one to jump in and break up a dog fight. After my manufacturing days, I went into furniture retail, and I built kennels behind all my retail stores. Some were on Beverly Boulevard over in the furniture district, and some were on, there was no internet, and just people started sussing me out and walking into my store and going, "Oh, I'm in the wrong place." I said, "What are you looking for?" "We're looking for Kyle." "That's me." "Oh," and they'd have a dog in the car. I remember one boxer, she said, this woman, Jerry, white girl, she dates exclusively black men. She says she can't date because her dog doesn't like, "Can I fix it?" And
The dog doesn't like black guys.
doesn't like black.
Okay, good.
Whatever. Dogs see in black and white. It is what it is. It's
Sure.
not a racial thing.
course
And
not, yeah.
the darker the blacker person, the most of what the dog sees is the white of the eye.
Yeah.
The guy wears sunglasses and a hat, sets it off even more. So I said, "Where's your dog? What is it?" She says, "It's a boxer. Her name is Maya. She's in the car." "What do you drive?" "Convertible Mustang." I said, "Take me to your dog." She says, No. I said, "Take me to your dog." And I don't know how the dog didn't break the window. She had the window cracked about 3 inches, and the dog was on the window trying to get at me and stuff. I said, "You need to get away from your car, because part of this is just resource guarding, and some of it is barrier aggression." I saw the dog had a leash on. With my right hand, I opened the door, and with my left hand, I pulled the dog out. But I pulled it with such force that her chin, shoulder area met my knee.
Okay.
Done. You got to bully the bully.
Yep.
Was done. The woman just started crying. This is amazing. So she continued to date, and I took the dog whenever she had a date or when she would go out of town, and the dog fully respected me and never did anything. And then eventually she met somebody who she was serious about, and she wanted to acclimate the dog. And I said, "Well, if he doesn't take a backward step and he doesn't have a hat or sunglasses on, everything should be fine."
Right.
We went for a walk. I handed him the leash behind the dog's back. I slowly stepped away. Next thing you know, he's walking the dog. As soon as I'm out of the picture, I told him to bend down and pet her. And I don't know if they're still together this day. I'm sure the dog is passed.
Oh, wow.
There's no dog that's too much for me to handle. And if I have to believe in that moniker until I'm at an age where I'm still able-bodied, I'm going to do this as long as I can. But as long as I believe that, and as long as Tyson believed that, and as long as these UFC fighters believe that, the second they have any doubt, and by the way, if you have doubt, you know a dog will pick up on it. They'll capitalize on anything.
I
Smell.
want to talk about that because you always said that there's no dog, and I have no fear of dogs, but I have immense respect.
I have apprehension. I'm not going to say I have fear, because if I have fear, they're going to smell it.
For sure.
Our pheromones and hormones are things you and I can't smell.
And we can't control
But
it.
I'm not going to tell you that I don't go in sometimes a bit apprehensive. I get nervous. There's a video of me. You probably won't pick up on it for a show I did on Court TV, where I'm entering the house, and you can see me take. I had to calm myself because I knew the dog's fight history. It was a little pit, and it ran up onto their beautiful white goose down comforter when I walked it down, and it peed on their bed. I ended up taking the dog on a leash. I took her for a walk around their neighborhood in Los Feliz, and the film crew, I told them not to come with me because I didn't want anything graphic on film, but I came back with the dog on my shoulder licking me in the face. And they just need to be put in their place.
So talk about that apprehension, because I think that's an important thing. Like, I have immense respect for dogs, but we also know that a dog only has one tool, and that's their mouth, right? And I've seen you work very dangerous dogs, and it's highly impressive. I mean, to me, it's extremely impressive the way you do it. Not heavy-handed. You don't beat up dogs. You don't choke dogs. You don't alpha roll dogs. I've never seen you do
I don't
anything
need to
like
alpha
that.
roll a dog. The mouth, you're talking about the mouth. The mouth is the most important thing. When we want to lower the bite, every dog that comes to my house gets the roof of their mouth massaged, their gums massaged. I pull on their canines. I hold their mouth shut. I hold their mouth open. I don't pill my dogs with American cheese. I put it down their throat. And if I'm comfortable enough and the mouth is not too wet or my hands are dry, or if I have a paper towel, I'll even pull on their tongue a little bit. You want to desensitize the mouth. I do that with every dog. I do that with every dog that comes out.
Janet's back.
And then we have an intruder. I do that with every dog that comes in.
Yeah.
The more we work around the mouth and the face, the more we desensitize the mouth, and the more we build bite inhibition. Bite inhibition, for people that don't know what it is the dog's.
Hiya, hey. Why?
The dog's bite inhibition is the dog's ability, not physically, physiologically, meaning physically and mentally, to hold back on the pressure of the bite. Dogs that mouth when they're young, when they mouth too hard, people don't know this when they're puppy. You need to say, ouch, ouch. You need to fake cry. You need to pull your hand away. You know what? The best thing to do when they're mouthing your hands when they're puppies? Make a fist. Or give them something they can't get their mouth around. Build their bite inhibition. So when they're 2 years old and they become who they are and they start feeling their oats, the mouth has been desensitized to humans. If you don't teach at a young age and you buy a Corso and throw him in your backyard and think he's going to be a lab, 2 years later he's not.
How much of that do you think bite inhibition? My theory is always it's learned so early on from the mother biting on the nipples, mother pushing him away, playing with the other puppies screaming, running away, whatever. The dog learns, okay, this is not a behavior that's bringing me any benefit, and I need to change it.
Science says, and Peter J. Vollmer, one of my favorite, and one of the very few people in the United States that actually holds a degree in animal behavioral science, which is really hard to get, has a book, and in the back he talks about breeders and how important it is at the 3-week mark to pick these puppies up, talk to them, touch their eyes, their ears, their anus, their genitals, all the sensitive areas, their groin, put them on their back and do the stuff. And those breeders, a lot of the bite inhibition starts there. It's not the breeders in Van Nuys where I live in the backyard where the dogs are sitting in fecal matter and urine, and then the day somebody's interested on Craigslist, they get bathed with a little spritz of cologne and like, oh my God, so cute. The dog's completely fucked up.
Right.
Sorry. But there's that. And then there's, the legal age to sell or adopt a dog from an agency is 8 weeks old.
Right.
I think dogs need to stay with their mother into the 12, 13, 14.
Well, you do believe that.
I really do.
Okay.
I really do, because the puppies really don't start playing and wrestling and grabbing the necks and giving each other signals.
Don't just take classes, take charge. Start your comeback today at purdueglobal.edu.
At 8 weeks old, they're mush.
I mean, I think
I mean pugs, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the breeds that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think I think it one more month before prior to adoption. And by the way, when they're 8 weeks old, it's pretty hard to. It's pretty hard. But at 12 weeks,
you kind of know.
You can see who's got what and where that dog is going. Critical rearing. It's the same thing as children.
Yeah, I agree. And let's get into that structure idea, because that's the one thing that when we talk about these dogs, like I've got this theory. I've seen people take dogs at a really early age, like at 6 weeks, but they're trainers that are really trying to condition and bond them. My thing, I still go with the 8 to 9 week thing. I think that's a really good pocket, but you have to know how to control that dog, and 1, not beat up on that dog, and 2, not let him get away with stuff. When I got Goofy at 9 weeks, he was horribly food aggressive. I mean, he would just run at him. But that's a genetic thing, right? I'm going after all the other puppies. And I'm going to go
part of his DNA. Maybe his other littermate wasn't.
Exactly. So I mean, obviously, you don't beat the dog up for that. You hand feed. You work through
hand feeding,
like touching his mouth, holding bones while he was eating raw marrow bones, fixed. But when we get into these, I hate to say it, but these unsuspecting owners of these breeds, like the Presses, the Cane Corsos, the Mastiffs,
they're not unsuspecting. They're entitled, and it's a trend and it's a status thing.
Okay.
I think you're being kind.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it is, a lot of it is ego, right? I think a huge portion of it is ego. Like, I want the biggest, toughest dog because I'm real tough, but you're not tough, right? I mean, tough is walking around with a little mini dachshund or a little chihuahua. You're cool, you're tough. Like, we could be cool with any dog. I don't need a big dog, but you like big dogs. I like big dogs. We can carry ourselves. I think these people that I see, and I'm not casting aspersions, but these thuggy kind of looking guys, with their pit bull on a chain, I've got a huge problem with it. Right, I got a huge problem with it.
I have a problem with the hyperdoodles running around Whole Foods.
I have worse problem.
These dogs are a mess.
Yeah, a disaster. Right.
Untrainable.
Totally. Yeah, I mean the Labrador, and everybody's got a fake service dog.
Untrainable.
Go to
My
Coles,
dad lives in Newport, little higher end than we are. It's Doodleville when I go down there, and every restaurant I go to, I'm a dog. I want a pet. I can't.
Yeah.
They're either nippy bitey, they're on a Bronco, or they're so hyper, or they're scared.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a disaster.
But dogs. We want our mate, our significant other, our furniture, our cars, and our dogs to be based on what we like aesthetically. But a beautiful woman is not dangerous, nor is a beautiful piece of furniture like we're sitting at.
Mm-hmm.
With the dogs, it is,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not toys. This is a game. And anybody watching this podcast that wants to look up statistics by death by dog in the United States, it's more than any other country. It's mainly Corsos. I love the breed. You'll hear me bash them all day long, but I'm going to tell the truth.
I do this with the Malinois.
I know. And then people think we don't like them. Well, you
Right.
own one, but you
Right.
bash them.
Yeah.
No, we're realists, and that's all we are. I preach this all the time. If you want to know about a specific breed, the worst thing you can do is talk to the breeder. Because the breeder, it's like your resume for work, and it's like your dating profile on Tinder.
Yep.
You're going to put your best foot forward.
Right.
If you want to know about a breed, you talk to a breed-specific rescue, because we're going to tell you everything the breeder didn't do. But then people say, yeah, but I want to go to a breeder. And I say, where do you think I got my dogs from?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
They all eventually came from a breeder. It's better to get a 2-year-old dog from me that I know everything about than an 8-week-old dog from them that at 2 years old you don't know what you're getting into unless it's you at 2 that can handle it, curb it, and cull its those behaviors.
Yeah.
And we talked about this upstairs before we got on film. Every individual dog and every individual human only has so much capacity. I don't know how many were in Goofy's litter, but I can tell you they're not all on his level.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that some have no food aggression. I can tell you one is probably a couch potato. I can tell you one is probably aggressive.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You're all different.
Yeah,
You're all different.
and that's the thing. I've had so many chats with breeders on the show. People, especially not breeders, but you don't know. Like they say, oh, we want the line, this and the father. We want to watch this one, but they'll watch and they'll see. Okay, this dog has had 10 litters, and this is what we see. But in the 11th litter, you could end up with a dog that's completely different, right? You'd never know what you're gonna get. It's just like if like if 2 great athletes marry and have a baby. No chance that the child's going to be a perfect athlete, right? He could be a nerd. But people always think that's...
There's no good and bad breeders. There's ethical and unethical breeders.
I agree. That's right.
And then you can have a backyard breeder breeding Corsos, and you can have a litter of 8, and 6 are amazing, and you can have a triple purple ribbon $10,500 Corso import, and 8 of those dogs would be horrible.
Right.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
Dogs are individuals. People are individuals. But at the end of the day, for this conversation that you and I are having, we have to generalize. And because you deal with so many mouths, I've only dealt with one mouth. I couldn't get her adopted. I'm sorry, it wasn't me. It was my ex-girlfriend who pulled the dog. She couldn't get her adopted because she couldn't show her. Because she was so reactive to other dogs. And she called me. She says, would you show her for the next meet and greet? They have a nice silver shepherd, those silver ones, male, neutered. I said, yeah. I said, how have you been showing her? She says, on a leash. I said, what does she do? She goes for the neck. So she lived on a residential street that had very little traffic because it was a cul-de-sac. And I told them, the adopters, when they got to the house, I wanted them to park across the street. This is Kim. I think you know her. I said, I want you to park across the street. Don't knock on the door. I don't want to set off a barking frenzy. Just text me when you're outside, and then come outside by your car with your dog. And then I took, what was her name? Can't remember her name. She was a beautiful Mal. And I took her, and I got to the front door of our house, and I just let her off the leash, and she made a beeline across the street to the other shepherd, and they started playing.
Mm-hmm.
You know why?
No restrictions.
There's no restriction. People ask me what causes leash aggression. I don't know. I don't know the science behind it. I know how to fix it.
Leashes.
I have no idea. All I know is in the wild, we don't have marked collars.
No.
We don't have leashes. We don't have barriers. We don't have plexiglass. We don't have chain link fences. We don't. These things don't exist in the wild, so we don't get these issues. I'm embarrassed to say, but I spend a lot of my time on TikTok. Haven't turned my TV on in about 6 months.
But you don't have a TikTok account.
I don't have a TikTok account. I'm anonymous on TikTok. Maybe I should be a TikToker. I could do makeup tutorials.
Yeah, we could do them together. Yeah.
So
I'll do hair.
I was on TikTok this morning. I saw a great video. It was a German Shepherd and a Golden Retriever, and it was a veterinary clinic that had a.
The average person sees around 10,000 online ads daily. Here's how a man's life would change if he used Pi.
Huge sliding glass door. These dogs wanted to kill each other, and then the vet tech opened the sliding glass door, and they played.
Right.
As soon as he closed it, they went back. These things don't exist in nature, and what we've done to these dogs. I'm big on walking my dogs off leash, and I know it's against the law, but the leash is it's such a. There's too much traffic. We live in the city.
Yeah.
I follow the laws, but the leash is the cause of so many issues. I wish I knew the science behind it.
I just think it's the frustration. It's all that energy that travels down that leash.
We're not allowing them to meet naturally the way they would, where they run up on each other, they snip. Yo, you're a male. Oh, you're a female. Oh, we're good.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, I've seen it at, again, at the shelter. I mean, I respect what you do with your dogs. And so many times, just letting them sniff. I used to do a stacked introduction. I used to force them, because people have on leash. I would force, this is your nose, this is that dog's butt, sniff.
Flooding.
I love flooding.
Flooding
right?
is I live by flooding.
Yeah.
I take dogs from the shelter with kennel cough, freshly neutered, and I flood them. I put them right into a play group. I don't wait. These rescues, we're going to give them time. You give them time to decompress and get comfortable and heal. And then you introduce them to your pack. No, hit them when they're down.
Okay, I want to talk about something. What you just said. That's Goofy. That's the boy. He's you see him under your.
There he is.
He's almost 13. He's gonna be 13 in March.
And he shoots him what, 3?
No, he shoots in 1 in protection, shoots in 2 in obedience, and 3 in Mondio ring obedience.
Okay, so and did his face get on camera?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so in the hallway we talked about protection dogs versus guardian dog. This dog could rip my head off if you gave him a command right now in German, right?
Yeah.
No, I'd be hard pressed to fight him off.
Yeah, you're a big guy, but yeah.
That's a protection dog.
Right.
People say they have a guard dog. We talked about that. A guard dog is a dog left unattended in your yard, usually unaltered, usually a male, female, whatever. And then people think that it's not. You're not going to be able to out that dog on command like this dog.
Yeah.
This dog isn't going to go after anything that's not a threat. Those dogs do. They have no discernment.
Yeah.
And then we start getting into these breeds, these breed presses, Corsos, Neos.
Yeah.
People see the wrinkles.
Yeah.
My new boy, everybody's tripping out on the wrinkles. Do you know what's under those wrinkles? A shredded, ripped.
Right. Well, because the Corsos, right? The kind of Corsos.
Well, the Neos, the wrinkles are there to protect the dog from back in the day when they were in the. You know what a gladiator dog is? These dogs used to be in the ring. I was telling my girlfriend the other day, these dogs were bred to fight off God. Now, if these guys didn't have a shield and they'd be dead.
Yeah.
It's again, this is how the court gesture and the kings and got off. And this is when ancient Rome. This is in Italy.
Yeah.
Spain. Long before bullfighting ever existed. These dogs were going up, and this was your punishment. Also, you go up against these dogs. These are Molossers, and there's still a lot of theories out there about where Molosser breeds come from. Did they really come from wolves, like the shepherd, or did they come from bears, like some of the?
Oh, I never heard that.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the DNA. Yeah, and that's why bears get parvo.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, there's so many weird. Because look at all the dogs in nature: hyenas, dingoes, Shiba Inus, coyotes, and wolves.
Right.
And all the similarities. And then look at the Molossers.
I see. I never knew that. Yeah.
Where did they come from? So I used to belong to MolosserWorld.com, which was a paid. Now it's free, and just we won't figure it out while you and I are on this earth, but eventually they're going to find out where these Molossers came from, because nature just didn't intend anything to have this type of power. Cane Corso has this 765 to 780 pound bite force per square inch. Per square inch meaning from the mandibular fulcrum point to the nose. Frenchies have a strong bite too, but the nose is so short they can't generate the power. 790 bone crushing power.
Bone crushing.
With a natural aversion to strangers. Sketchy at night. Well, all dogs have bad vision at night. But then you harness potential, with the tenacity,
Yeah.
with the lack of training, with unqualified owners that are either in over their head financially or mostly physically. They're buying dogs that are beyond their physical means.
And emotional. I was
Some labs are beyond people's physical means,
Well, that's
not
for
because
sure.
they're aggression, but because of the energy level. Jack Russells, every breed has its own specific. Every human. I'm not a racist. I'm a racialist.
Yeah.
And I back on my own culture as much as I come from a very self-deprecating culture. I'm Jewish, but the thing is that every breed, just like every human, has a trait. And with a Jack Russell, if you're not going to the dog park, if you're not hiking, doing trails, and you don't have another dog or two to play with, you're going to lose the bottom of the feet of your furniture. You're going to lose your sneakers.
I used to say this when I was doing the play groups. I used to be very, very, very reluctant to put shepherds with Molisers. And people go, why? And I said, because they dance different.
Different energy.
Right? Like if I take somebody from let's say, I'm not going to say black or white, I'm going to say an African, somebody from Rwanda, which I've visited Rwanda.
A real African.
A real Rwanda, because Africa is a continent. So we're going to talk about
Right, the country.
Right, talk about the country, Rwanda. And I'm going to pair them up with somebody from Sweden. Right? And I'm going to say, go dance. Is that even fair? Right? But that's what people don't get with dogs, right? We've genetically bred them, manufactured them to be something that's very different than it started out with. And now we're going to introduce them together. And I had a huge issue with people who would say, just put them together. I knew I could manage it, but I thought it was so unfair because let the Molisers play together because they know that.
Molossers are a wrestling dog, and the shepherds and the herding dogs are run and chase.
Yeah.
My dogs don't run and chase; they want to wrestle.
Yep.
You
And
get,
shepherds hate
and
wrestling.
that doesn't mean that your shepherd and my Molosser won't wrestle.
Right.
Because it's one-on-one and it's you and I controlling the
Sure.
situation. You talk about different people. I took that was a privilege at my factory. I kept TVs in my wood shop for my employees to watch World Cup. I had to remove the TVs because I'd come home and it'd be a bloodbath because half my carpenters were Mexican, the other half were Guatemalan. So
Right.
instead of making furniture, they're fighting over whose team scored what goal.
Right.
It's just craziness. And dogs are the same way.
Yeah.
Like breeds recognize like breeds. If you go to the dog park, pit bulls always pick out the other pit bulls. There's always a husky chasing another husky. Huskies are a chasing dog, and then you've got your Molossers. They're body slamming. They're throwing their butt in the other. They're T-boning each other. One's got one on its back. Sometimes they lay their body weight down. It's a different energy. My house is all Molossers.
And I started out when I got Goofy, I had Sharpei, and I had two Sharpeis. I had one that was a killer, and then I had Silly. And when I got Goofy, he learned to play with Silly. So when you watch him, he butt checks, right?
Yeah.
He learned that at 8 weeks old. He learned to butt check and body slam from Silly, who's a Sharpei, which is
I love the butt check. It's one of my favorite things to watch. My favorite thing to watch when I bring a new dog into the program, and when I know my dog is ready to go, is the first time they play bow.
Yeah, I love watching that.
Once you get the play bow, you're good.
done.
You're golden.
Yeah.
I can go in and make my pasta, and I can do my thing.
Right.
I leave my back window open so I can hear if anything's going on. But once you get that play bow,
You know.
you're good.
Yeah. So when you talk about these dogs, and you don't take dogs, they're just a friendly dog, whatever, you're getting the ones that nobody can handle.
My rescue is for medical and behavioral mastiffs. My dogs all have bite histories except for my personal dogs. I have a 0 bite history with the city and the county. I've been doing this for 31 years. My dogs don't bite. If I have to give sanctuary to a dog that I think feels too dangerous, I do, just so I can keep that record clean.
Sure.
And I've never done a behavioral euthanasia. I just don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Unless they're wired wrong. I had a dog that was redirecting on itself. They had a brain tumor. I let it go. It was a Frenchie that had removed somebody's digit, picked their pinky off. When he started redirecting on himself and resource guarding his fecal matter, I knew something was wrong. That's when we took him in for the CAT scan. Of course, I got the owner's permission, even though they gave me sanctuary to do with part of the contract was they had to pay for all vetting for end of life. And even though the 10-year contract was not up, you got a dog that's redirecting on itself just isn't right in the head. But that I don't consider that a behavioral youth.
I don't know. I agree.
I think we can. We have enough tools, and we have that we can keep these dogs going.
But how many other people can do that? Like, how many other people can take a Corso a Neo or something like that, and work these dogs. I mean, even bigger than you. You're my size. You're a big guy.
That I know, I don't know, and it's not my size. It's my will. But what you can't do with these dogs is you can't meet like force with like force. These dogs don't take correction well. They will defend themselves. I try and verbally correct the dogs as much as possible. Use distractions, use sound. If I have to get physically involved, I will.
Okay.
But I try not to. Because you get a dog that won't back down, and then you find yourself at the other end of that.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever found yourself in that position?
I mean,
Yeah.
Sherman Oaks Hospital knows me by name, so I'm missing part of my calf. I'm missing part of my heel. My hands have been surgically repaired, as everybody knows. But I've been there. But I try to avoid it as much as possible. Every time a dog strikes, it lowers its bite inhibition. Right now, the Frenchie that bit the wife 2 times, really strange bites. It was when she was walking away in the calf. So he's an opportunistic biter. So until I meet the dog on the 22nd, I told her that she has to turn around whenever he's behind her. But I asked them if they had carpet or hardwood floors. They said the house was a combination. I said, when she's on the hardwood floors, I want her to stomp her foot down. I want her to send her dog reeling backwards. And if she walks and the dog follows, I want her to turn around so the dog no longer follows. It's a really strange strike. The calf, twice, no trigger. So
I think it's I've seen it. I've seen it in
I
Shepherds.
need to figure it out. I've got, you've seen steel toe shoes. I got steel heel. What?
Wow.
Yeah, I walk away from my dogs. I want to know.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah, with your dogs.
I got I got my calf grabbed one time, but I'm interested to meet this dog because I'm interested in working with him. But then again, I'm not interested because I found out that he's on 2 drugs. I don't train dogs that are on Prozac or amitriptyline because the brain is not at full capacity, and drugs don't. They sedate. They don't stop. They mask.
Yeah.
They don't stop. You can take an antidepressant, but you've got to see a therapist.
Yep.
Meds without therapy does nothing because you got to get to the core of the problem. But if the meds can give you a 20% advantage and help alleviate it, whether it's a chemical imbalance. For me, I take anxiety meds for 39 years. But the real work comes from getting out, talking to you, being around dogs, being around people, and putting myself in uncomfortable positions.
It's an important thing to think about is how do we address this situation? I always think that behavioral is more important than medical. They work hand in hand. But if you're not willing to get into the physical with this dog and teach him how to rewire himself through movement. So, that's one thing I want to talk about. A lot of people always talk about, I'm not going to mention names of other trainers. One person's very famous who always says, well, the dog needs to be tired so that he won't do this and that. And my theory on that was always like, well, if you open the door and the dog goes out or he's wherever and he's not tired, you got to be able to control him. Like, I want to control my dogs in drive.
I think a tired dog is a good dog, but I think it's a piece of the puzzle. It's not everything.
Okay. So do you, like, what's your approach with that? Will you, before you train the dog, get him tired, or would you just take him right out and just, let's go do this? Again, we're dealing with aggression,
because
right?
I don't do obedience.
Right. Well, you do behavior, though.
Do behavior. So the only things that are important to me are leash aggression and recall.
Okay.
My sits and downs and stays, I usually refer out to a friend of mine or friends or other people, but I want to lay down the groundwork for them to be able to work with the dog first. I think behavioral becomes before any tricks.
I agree.
I have a client's dog at my house right now. She goes, is she giving 5 or speaking? I said, no, I don't want her to find her voice. Your dog has separation anxiety. That's the last thing I want. And the last trainer the dog was with taught her to speak. And I'm like, no, so I have to work all the way against that now. Because they leave and the dog, they come back, she's panting, she's overheating, her tongue is curled up at the end, which is dangerous. The crate bars are bent. I've got her now in play groups. They don't have another dog. But tired is one key. That's exercise. But then there's socialization, there's stimulation, and then there's this important one, which is boundaries. We have to set strict boundaries. I have everybody's yard has 3 fences: your back fence, your left, and your right. My dogs don't go near my fence. They don't go near the fence line. When my neighbor's dogs bark, my dogs don't go near the fence line. They don't. They're not allowed to. If I have a male and I just got him in and he's freshly altered or unaltered and he goes to the fence to pee, okay, whatever, that's nature.
Right.
My dogs aren't allowed near the fence line. I don't allow it. It's fence fighting is my pet peeve.
I hate it.
Fence fighting is and the fact that my neighbors don't even say a word. So I just don't allow my dogs to engage in that behavior. I'm on my, training for me and for you, we've been doing it for so long. It's not training anymore. It's a lifestyle and it's a maintenance ritual, and it just becomes part of the daily grind. Who goes in the door first? Who doesn't?
And a lot of that too is because I see you with these dogs. They're kissing your face. You got them on your shoulder. You're laying on top of them. Well, I always say this. I try to play guitar. You see guitar there. I suck at guitar. I suck.
You can't be good at everything, Robert.
No, I know, but I suck at guitar. Right? I love it. I mean, in my deepest soul, I want to be a rock star, but I can't. And I always think, like you said, we've been doing it for a long time. I really don't think it's about how long you've been doing it, because I've been trying to play guitar since I was 16, way before I ever wanted to get to dogs.
What about these prodigies that pick up a guitar and listen to music,
right?
Play by ear.
And that's what I'm saying. So I don't believe you really need to go to a school to learn to be a dog trainer. I mean, I never went to a school to be a dog trainer. I have a course online to teach it, but I don't believe you need it. I think if you're a natural dog trainer, I don't need a certificate. I don't need any initials behind my name.
You need on-hands training.
You need on-hands training. And you might be...
And that's what people hire based on. Right. I mean, your master's degree in a business might get you further.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when all of their trainers are failed, they reach out to the Kyle Schwabs and the Robert Cabrals.
Yeah.
I'm a last resort.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so important, this whole picture of, are you a natural? Right? Because you learn to play guitar, and in 10 years, if I took lessons, I'd probably be a decent guitar player, but I'm not. But as a dog trainer, it just feels. I go on a feeling, like those people who pick up the guitar and can just play anything and they just get it.
I also am not musically inclined, and I always wanted to just play acoustic guitar.
Yeah. You should buy one. It's therapy.
I feel that's the word's not allowed anymore. I feel just so it's awkward for me. You mentioned something a minute ago. You said the dog on your shoulder. I love putting dogs on my shoulder.
I know you do.
In an uncompromising position. It makes them uncomfortable. Their feet aren't on the ground. They're super uncomfortable to you for comfort. Then when you bring them off your shoulder and you hold them here and they're against you, pigs, they hate being held. That's why they squeal. Or rabbits, the second you put your arm under a pig or a rabbit's feet, that squealing goes away. So, the most famous whisperer we're not mentioning says you can't put a dog on your shoulder, dog can't sleep on your bed. Bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
My dogs sleep on my bed.
No, that's what I want to talk about. Right. So we've got these, like, I'll tell people.
If they can't sleep on your bed and they can't be on your shoulder, then how are you and I talk? I should be dead, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I believe a dog, like in my house, we had a little dachshund, he'd walk on the table, I'd give him whipped cream. And and my dogs Goofy's on top of me in the morning licking my face, and I know you do that with your dogs. So I think we sometimes have rules for what we have to tell people to get them to get that position in the pack or within that dog. And there's things that we can do that other people probably shouldn't do. Do you agree with that?
When Vegas, my 11-year-old Frenchie, doesn't let other dogs on the bed, I physically remove him from the bed. I let the other dogs up, and then he comes and he finds his spot, and his spot is next to my pillow. Yeah. He doesn't rule my house. I rule my house.
I think that's so important. I think that's another thing people completely overlook. Like, I think a dog should enhance your life. And if a dog can't enhance my life, I don't want a dog in my life. And every one of my dogs enhances my life. And I think
my dogs are my friends.
Yeah. I think
my relationship with you is the same as my relationship with my dogs. It's respectful. They obviously can't cook and feed for me, but I get other things from them.
Right. And
I learn from them every day.
You're the only person who's ever said that. I say the same thing. At one point, I wanted to write a book on life lessons I learned from my dog. Right? I mean, there's so much wisdom in the dog. And you know why? People always say, I did a podcast, episode 22, which was grieving the loss of your dog. And it was one after Silly died. It took me a while afterwards to do this. And it's one of my most popular podcasts because I really talk about how people say, well, it's just a dog, or get another dog, or this and that, and this and that. And the only answer, and there was a story, The Committed Wife. It was a Jewish book that you should read. It's beautiful.
The Committed Wife?
The Committed Wife, yeah.
Tell my dad about it.
It's one of my most favorite books. And they talked about this woman whose father was a rabbi. And the person said, your father is the only person who helped me grieve the loss of my, I don't know what it was, child properly. And she said, what did he do? And he said, well, everybody else came to me and said, this is what God intended. God wouldn't do it if you weren't strong enough, and God this and God that. And she said, what did he do? I'm going to cry when I tell you the story. She said, your father held me in his arms and he cried with me. And that is what...
So they could get it out.
Yeah. Because
I'm a big crier, by the way.
I am too. I'm going to cry now, but like
I cry during UFC interviews when the fighter wins. I mean, I'm like,
I cried during The Notebook.
But everybody did.
Right. But
Well, that's what makes us real and relatable.
yeah.
We don't dress weird. We don't have stun guns and
Yeah.
tasers on our thighs.
Right.
We don't go out with snare poles, and we do what we do, and we do it because we're strong-willed.
What draws you to the Mollisers? Because I mean, is there something you can define in that? Like, why
I've
the
always-
Mollisers?
I've been. The majority of my life was in the fitness industry. I ran Jane Fonda's gym. I opened up a gym in Beverly Hills, a cardiovascular gym called the Walking Center, which was where you walked on a treadmill during lunch. I worked for Precor. I worked for Life Fitness. I worked for Quality Gym, and then I ran a couple of fitness stores. And my first dog was a boxer. I love the athleticism. My second dog was a boxer. My third dog was a dogo. As an athlete and for cardio and hiking, I wanted that kind of dog. From there, like we talked about before, sparked my natural ability of the go-to guy at the dog park. I was 19 years old. I was training people's dogs, no charge.
Yeah.
No business card. It was just like, go see this guy. He's got a furniture store. It's right on the bend. And we walk in. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking for a dog training. So like, this is it.
That's funny.
I take them to the kennels in the back. What draws me to the Mollisers are, it's not an ego thing because I don't take my
I
dogs
know
out.
you don't. Yeah.
I went to.
But do you like the look?
I went out yesterday to get an acai bowl, and I took a 5-month-old Frenchie. I don't need to take my courses out. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. Why do I like them? Well, I don't like the yeast and the Cheetos and the Frito smell that comes out of their face. I like the challenge. I like when people tell me I can't do something. I've always been that way. When I can't achieve, when I had my furniture stores and you can't do this, I did it. And I like dogs that people tell me that are unfixable, and I fix them. I don't throw it in their face. I just fix them. I put them in a home, and then I send the previous home a picture of the dog in the home. It's a challenge. It's rewarding for me, and it's fulfilling. I make a living doing something that I love. You can't ask for anything more than that.
It's not a job, right? We say I don't really have a job. I never had a real job.
Unfortunately, my life is based on advocacy, and it's not, for me, it's not a money thing. So I need to manage my finances better and charge for what it's worth. But most of these dogs are relinquished to me, so the money's just not there. But the people who are super dedicated and want to put it out will. Not a lot of money. It's $5,000 for dog aggression, and it's $10,000 for human aggression. And there's no time frame on that. That's a set fee. If you want to give your dog to me for sanctuary for life because it's simply too dangerous and you don't want to euthanize it, it's $30K. I think it's more than fair.
Yeah.
But I have to supplement my income by making furniture.
Oh, so you still make furniture now?
Yeah, I just retooled and upgraded all my tools. Everything went. Some of the technology has changed, so I had to get rid of my industrial stuff because I'm not going to do tile or electrical or plumbing anymore. And I went straight back to finished carpentry. I got rid of all my 18 volt. I upgraded to 20 volt, and I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm just working on a video portfolio right now.
Wow.
With that, I can really help my behavioral dogs. I mean, my medical dogs, because I specialize in medical and behavioral mastiff. Most every mastiff is medical.
I would think so, right?
The yeast,
Disaster.
the intropion,
Yeah.
the overbreeding, the inbreeding, the line breeding. I'm sick of it all.
I agree with you. I think that's
But mostly I'm sick of the people. The dogs, I never get upset with the dogs. And I don't train dogs, by the way. I train people. I do very little with the dogs. I'm like you because I give them the tools. I do lots of free follow-ups. I do a lot of Zooms, a lot of FaceTimes. I'm there for life, especially with the dogs I adopt out. People are like, Kyle, I don't want to bug you. I know, you're not bugging me.
Yeah.
I want the stick-to-itiveness is what's important to me. I want the dog to stay in the home. You can call me. I'm there for my adopters when they euthanize their dogs. When I'm available and I'm not busy, I'll go to the vet with them. And a lot of these people have been friends.
Family.
Yeah. So August 1st will be 31 years. I think I have about 8 or 9 homes now with their 4th dog. It's like their 4th generation dog from Smash Face.
Wow.
So
do you think you'll keep going, or do you think you want? Like I just want to retire. I mean, I've done so much. I'm burned.
Financially, I can't, and as long as I'm able-bodied, I don't think with the anxiety that I suffer from, I could ever stop working.
Right.
I'm gonna work till the day I die.
I want to work till the day I die, but I want to kind of.
But you're
I'm back down.
Yeah,
I want to I'm going to get a puppy.
But you're working smart. I work hard and you work smart.
Wow.
So when we're off camera, you need to tell me how that works.
Yeah, but we both have a passion. I taught karate, and everything I've done in my life was because I just loved it. And then money started to come, And I think that's why I didn't want to be a dog trainer, because I didn't want to have another career that would be screwed up by money. And it always screws it up, right? It always screws it up. Because how many times, have you trained somebody's dog for free? You just say, okay, let me just help you out. I'll just do it. Okay, whatever. But, what I want to talk about too is that frustration that you've got to feel. Because you and I run depressed, and I talk about my emotions, my feelings. I've got no fear.
I haven't lost any clients because of it.
No, but how do
you run low and I run high.
Yeah.
I have the anxiety, you have the low.
Yeah, but my thing is this frustration with people, like this letdown with people. I always feel. I started to say
Have you
that,
become cynical?
well, I'm very cynical, but I would tell people, they said, do you get disappointed? People, I said, not anymore, because everybody starts it as.
Calm down. All right, rule number 2. If I look at you and you look at me, I need some shit. I got 2 outlets that's out. Well, you bullshit. They text me the other day, we can't vacuum the showroom. 2 of the outlets are out. I was like, I'm going to meet a commercial electrician soon. And there you are. Hoorah.
Get more for your business with Microsoft 365. Stay connected to customers from anywhere and securely share files with anyone.
Man, chilling. What's up with it?
I can't call it, man. I appreciate you, putting our differences aside, man, to come on here and have this conversation with Rick Rock, brother.
Oh, no, for sure. It's all good. For sure.
All right, man. So let's get into it, man. Why don't you, speak on why you may have any feelings towards anything, and we get some feedback on your mic or anything. Are you wearing headphones or listening to us on the TV or something?
No, right now, but I don't know, like, link for whatever reason. I let my camera work on there, so I had to come on like this. It's gonna let me speak, and they let me show my face or whatever for whatever reason.
All right. Well, go ahead, man. Let us know how you feeling and your thoughts on everything.
Oh, okay. So like I was saying, I had been seen the video, and like when I first came on here, I heard what Rick Ross said. Like it was already a little situation like this to where I had got his number and I tapped in with him or whatever. I could have easily did this time. Like I said, for me, it ain't about no content. It's a million things on this internet if I just want to make content. So it wasn't that I was looking for no attention, anything like that, because you feel me? Like I said, we shouted each other out, and like, you feel me? I do good on numbers, you know what I'm saying? For me to just like be looking for attention, I'm a secret. But when I did, I'm looking at the video and I'm like, okay, bro, going off. And just like, even though he didn't say no names, and I could have, followed my advice, like, well, he didn't say my name, but just still, like, I don't, with me, myself, because I don't watch a lot of people's channels. His channel is one of the channels I watch. We subscribe to each other. So I'm like, I'm one of the main niggas is like, really speaking peace. And then you feel me? And then like, like we all got content as far as on dudes on No Jumper don't have anything with me feeling guilty or anything like that, but just some of the elements he was speaking of, I'm just like, damn. So I'm just like, man, I'm gonna speak on it, but me speaking on it was never like I was seeking like the beef for the nigga, or I was trying to come from. I'm just like more like, goddamn, like shit, who you talking? Like, is you talking about me? But who you talking about? So that's just really like an aspect I took. It wasn't like I was trying to come for him and like I'm tripping with him. It was just pretty much like damn, like what's up? You know what I'm saying?
You're now watching Compton Rick Rock TV.
Smokey, take over the show, man.
Hey, what's up with y'all? How y'all doing this evening, man? I hope y'all had a good holidays. Happy Black Friday, man. It's good to see my brothers up here talking some sense. Got some peace going on and trying to have a grown man conversation. I salute that, man.
Yeah, you got a lot of guys.
So what I want to say is this, right? What I want to say is, for all of us that's like representing Los Angeles and stuff like that, y'all can hear me clear?
Oh, y'all couldn't hear me. I had told Rick Rock to respond to that, but I guess I was on mute. That's why he told Smokey to take over the show. I'm like, damn, what happened? But I was saying, I wanted to ask Rick Rock, did he have any response to that, or what was his thoughts on what Young Ed had said?
Well, to say it as clear as possible, I can say it. I'm gonna say it like this: you got multiple guys out here that's pushing peace, right? LA dudes is not the only ones pushing peace. You got Compton, you got Watts. You also have guys from Compton that been on here saying the same thing. So when I say it and don't put no name on it, if it was me, I don't pay attention to nothing that don't got my name. I don't care how it sound, because you're not about to get me in the trick bag. You're not about to trick me out of content. You're not about to get me excited. None of that. I know how this game go. They used to get me like that when I first started on YouTube. Somebody would say something, I get on it. I didn't call one dude at the studio. I didn't track one dude down all the way at the studio, man. He ain't even knowing that he was set up to get wet up. And the only reason why it didn't happen, because something else transpired. And that's the time when I used to be on that, right? So I don't get tricked out of these games. If somebody don't say my name, I don't pay no attention. You see what I'm saying? But I said, okay, he spoke on it. He said something about it. It ain't nothing personal. I'm going to go ahead and give me something to think about. That was my whole mind frame. Like I said, I'm real good at this trolling. I'm a jokester. Just like King Dopest TV, we're going to have to go on there and take the strike off, because I seen him having a conversation, and he said something. I said, hey, can you hear me over there? Bucky, can you hear me over there? Can you hear me? Yeah. So when the team called me and let me know what's going on, and I find out where, I said, I want to hear everybody do what y'all do over there. Do what y'all do.
And Young Ed, I just wanted to let you know, man, I muted you, for the feedback, but you can always just come off mute when you want to say something.
But it wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing personal. I don't care what they think on YouTube. And you don't supposed to do this, and you don't supposed to do that. My thing is, okay, well, give him something to think about. He said something about it. He put my picture all on there. That's some good exposure to me. I love it. I love it when they put my videos on there and say my name on there and bring me 1,000 more people over here to where I'm at. It's cool, because now that's 1,000 more people that wasn't watching me that come over here and get some of this old good positivity. That's why you see the P on there when I cut the camera off. That P don't stand for player. That P don't stand for pimp. That P stand for positive vibes. And that's what I got it for. So, he was just a candidate that got caught up in the Rick Rock game. That's all.
Let's see. Young Ed, you off mute, brother. You got anything to say to that?
Groover has helped me just put my music out there and expand my fan base. They've helped me with shows. They've helped me with getting a record.
No, like I said, it's all good, man. Like, man, anybody that know me, I don't like this shit content. I don't promote no fake beef. You feel me? And I don't think I said anything disrespectful. Like I said, I'm not one of them dudes who just don't come out disrespectful unless somebody gets disrespectful. Then the cards gonna lay where they may. I know we all feel like, we this, whatever the case may be. But I don't think I was being disrespectful when me, putting the segment up, and I didn't actually blast no picture of you, baby. Just me putting the content up, your picture automatically went up or something though. But like, that ain't what it's about with me. You feel me? Like, And like I said, it is what it is. Like he said, I mean, you could get caught up in that game. It's a lot of shit I do ignore. And just that little. Like I said, I teeter with it, but. Like he said, man, it ain't no beef, so we ain't promote no fake ass smoke and none of that. You feel me? Like I said, I just addressed something that I was like wondering who he was talking about, and it is. What it is.
Hold on, Ant. We got self-made. He said you don't have to say a name for us to know who you talking about. Damn, that shit sounds solid. Self-made, self-motivated. Get your whole ass up out of here, man. Because we would get off Compton Rick Rock and go straight to Rick Rock, man. If that's what you want.
And you know what? I want to say this, man. More people in the comments is doing more instigating than coming with a solution for anything.
But we got to spice the show up because we ain't got enough 8 viewers in here, so I'm gonna use self-motivated to get Team of Time Exotic show.
No. It's 167.
Yeah, I don't see that. I see 8 people on here, man.
Because it's being reshared through other rooms. Let me take a let me take a picture because y'all might think I'm capping over here. It's 167 over here. It's 167.
Do your thing how you. Do your thing how you do it, Rick Rock. But I just want to make that clear to the trolls and all them people in the comments. Like real niggas like me see that, man. I done seen a lot of y'all trying to instigate behind that beef, man. When we don't even need that.
Look, we got real beef in the streets. That's why I get on here and say what I say. YouTube, I don't beef with nobody on YouTube. These ain't nobody from my, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. This ain't no beef, man. We do real stuff outside of YouTube. We ride low riders. We knock hood rats. We do everything. We get on YouTube because it's a platform to reach a lot of people and spit out positivity. I could be on here turning this up. I could be telling I could be on here and I got professional cameras, mics. I could be doing game vlogs, getting it cracking out here. I could be the most negative dude, especially in my section. Where I got a little say so, I could turn this thing up and have dudes out here going at it, playing Art of War, playing mind games, gladiator moves, all that. I could be the most craftiest, snakiest dude on here having it cracking. But I chose not to do that. You see what I'm saying? I use this platform to put out some positivity, put out some wisdom. Because I could be on here easily with the cameras I got. Man, I could go to this hood, send somebody over there, get them say something negative. Go to that hood, have them say something negative, edit up with some of this master editing, and have them out here killing each other all day. Come on, man.
Nah, man, you definitely putting out some good work over there, man. I seen the videos, man. A couple of videos you did, man. So for sure, you putting out some good work. And I just want to remind young Ant, man, I'm muting you. But all you got to do is mute to come off, if you want to say something, because it's like if I leave you off mute the whole time, we going to get a bunch of feedback. So just unmute yourself when you want to say something and go back on mute. I don't want you to think I'm disrespecting you. All right?
No, it's all good. No, I see it. It's telling
And
me
make sure y'all go subscribe to all these brothers' pages, man. Keep it a Benji, Compton Rick Rock, Demon Time Exotics, Young Ant, Smokey. Smokey be dropping that content too, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to that channel. I just want to say this because I want everybody to be able to get their piece in. At the end of the day, it somewhat don't matter how we got here.
Listen to this. There's no excuses anymore. There's so much potential. It's just you can get lost in here having fun. I have not been out of the studio in like 18 hours, but I'm hitting the best creative flow with this plugin right now. Let me show you how it works. As a download, can it get even more awesome? It can, because you can create your own.
The fact is that we here, we got these brothers, and I believe y'all setting a great example for a lot of the people that's out here, because instead of this thing festering and